Okay, so question 12. A commonly cited standard for one-way length duration of school bus rides for elementary school children is 30 minutes. Okay, so they're saying 30 minutes is the standard. 30 minutes one way. Okay, great. A local government office in a rural area conducts a study to determine if elementary schoolers in their district have a longer average one-way commute time. If they determine that the average commute time of students in their district is significantly higher, remember that word, it's important, let me circle that permanently, higher than the commonly cited standard, they will invest in increasing the number of school buses to help shorten the commute time. What would a type 2 error mean in this context? Type 2. Okay, well, to know that, we've got to go back to HO and H1. Remember, HO is always equals. Always equals. And the other one, therefore, higher, that's going to be greater. Higher is greater, right? Then whatever, 30 minutes. Yeah, the 30 minutes is the one way, right? 30 minutes. So that's the standard, right? The higher than the commonly cited standard. So higher than 30 versus equal 30. Okay, and they're saying if they determine that the average commute time of students is higher. So if they determine that, if they go with H1, right? If they decide H1, that's what they're saying. Do you see how they're saying that right here? If they decide that the average time of students in their district is higher. So if they decide H1, what does that mean? How do you decide H1? They must have rejected HO, right? The only way they're going to decide H1 is if they rejected HO. It's one or the other, right? It's like a court of law. You're either going to go with the defense attorney or the prosecuting attorney. If they decided H1, they rejected HO. That's what that means. You see how I arrived at that? I just read what those words said. If they determine that the average is higher, they determine H1. That means they rejected HO. Okay, so what does it mean when you reject HO? Or actually, let's go there. They're saying, what would a type 2 error mean? What would a type 2 error mean? Type 2 error would mean fail to reject. Oh, I should go on to the question. You know what? I'm kind of jumping the gun here, guys. Sorry. Let me go to the question. I'm kind of just assuming I know everything, and I'm not really reading the question. Sorry, I'm going to back up. I'm going to rewind all that I wrote there. All right, back to this point. Now, coming on down, I should have read the question more first. What would a type 2 error mean? What's type 2 error? Fail to reject the null. So they fail to reject the null, which means they what? Wait, I'm sorry. I need to get rid of that circling too. There we go. So failed to reject the null, which means they're going to keep the null and go with that conclusion. That's what a type 2 error would mean. That's what it's saying here. Type 2 error. Type 2 error means you fail. Type 2 error, you failed to reject the null, which means you keep the null. You keep the equals, but it's an error. That's false. This is really true down here. It's an error. Does that make sense? They kept HO, but it was really false. This is an error. They failed to reject HO when HO is false. So HO is false, but they kept it anyway. That's the type 2 error. They failed to reject HO. They kept HO, but really it's false, and H1 was true. So how can we put that in words? Let's take a look. The local government decides that the average time is 30 minutes. No. Or yeah. Yeah, that seems right. Equals 30. Let's read the other ones. The local government decides that the data provide convincing evidence of an average commute time higher than 30. No. They went with HO. They don't think higher, they think equals. No, that's not right, not higher. Let's read the next one. The local government decides that the data do not provide convincing evidence of an average commute time higher than 30. Right, they don't. When the true average is in fact higher than 30. Yeah, that's exactly it, right? The truth is it's higher, right? In fact, it's higher. But they decided the data do not provide evidence of higher. That's right. Let's read this bottom one. The local government decides that the data do not provide convincing evidence of an average commute time different. No, we're not doing different. It was higher. And what was wrong with that first? Because I kind of like that first. The local government decides that the average commute time is 30 minutes. Well, no, they're not sure it's 30 minutes. They just decide that the data do not provide evidence that it's higher, when really it is. So there it is. That's the correct answer right here. That's what a type 2 error would mean. That's a type 2 error in this context. They failed to reject the null. They kept the null when it's really false, meaning they said, no, the data do not provide evidence of higher. We're not going with higher, when really it's in fact higher. That's what's really true. So there we go.